It has to be a bit wonky. Right now I'm ready for you. Oh, hello. Hello there and welcome to my library. My name is Chinsia if you're new here, and if you're one of my lovely regulars, hi, how are you? I hope you're doing splendidly. So, for today's vlogmas, we're doing the dreaded assumptions about me tag. Someone asked for it over on my Instagram when I asked for what vlogmas videos I should do, and it's one of those that I've been putting off. And it's finally been asked, and I'm dreading, I'm absolutely terrified, in all honesty. I've had a quick view to see how many people have sent through questions and all that jazz, or their assumptions, rather, about me. But I haven't really properly looked. I'm too scared to look. I'm not sure if they're brutal or not, but my dog is here as emotional comfort right now, so hopefully she'll keep me feeling less like I want to like smash my own brains against the floor. The first one was actually sent to me in a message, but I know in jest, but it's quite a hot topic at the moment, and that is, okay, I heard you're faking your accent. Which, if you don't follow me over on Instagram and Twitter, there has been an influx of new people on my channel, which, hello, lovely to meet you, thank you for joining. But with that influx, people who haven't subscribed, I'm assuming, based on the nature in which they remark on my accent, is, oh, this person's faking their accent. It's been an influx of them recently. It's quite amusing, in all honesty. The fact that I could pull off a fake accent for 20 years in of itself is very interesting. And I say 20 years as I can't remember what I sounded like before the age of 10. I have no memory of my life and my concept back then, but I do know that I started acting at the age of 10, and when I started acting I started getting voice lessons and speech lessons and all that jazz, so I know very distinctively what my voice has sounded like since the age of 10. Obviously my voice broke, like most people. I used to be quite high-pitched, and it's gone down to deeper as I've gotten older, just my voice. But yeah, it has been very funny, though I think what's more irritating about it is that as a professionally trained actress, the deep, painful irony of this remark is that I'm faking my accent, is that my biggest criticism as an actress was that I couldn't do accents. It was a bane of my life on my acting CV. Every director, teacher, trainer used to comment on my lack of skill when it came to the accent realm, which narrowed down my portfolio as an actress, because if I have a particular accent, I can only do a particular role, which, let's call it as it is, it tends to be a snooty, posh English person that is likely going to be a villain of some kind, although I was Olivia in Twelfth Night in my last production, but it's always that kind of, I'm very much in a box as an actress, which was my biggest downfall as an actress. Oh, I wanted to be an actress, obviously, I'm not an actress now. It's really irritating that I can't do accents. So when people are, it's almost like rubbing salt in the wound, that people are like, oh, this person's faking her accent. I'm like, I wish I could fake an accent. It was the one thing holding me back from like so many auditions that I failed because I couldn't get rid of my own voice. It was just too distinctive. I think that's kind of like a dark irony about the accusation that my accent is fake. Though, may I just ask, out of genuine curiosity, why is that such an assumption that a woman who's well-spoken and sounds like this is automatically fake, whereas every other male on TV, from like Tom Hiddleston to Benedict Cumberbatch, is a-okay, they're legit, but a woman? No. I don't understand. Is there a legitimate, genuine concern? Like, please let me know down below. But on to the other ones that weren't done in jest. So, the first one is, you're an anti-capitalist in a good way. I wouldn't describe myself as anti-capitalist at all. That may come as a shock to people because I don't shop. But I wouldn't describe myself as anti-capitalist, because to say I'm anti-capitalist would be to suggest that I believe that the solution to what we currently have as a capitalistic system is to eradicate it, and I don't believe that's a solution at all. I don't believe we should eradicate capitalism, but I think it's in desperate need of reforming. You know, to say that it's a terrible state is an understatement. The way the capitalistic system is functioning at the moment is nothing short of a humanitarian crisis, in my opinion. What is required, however, is an injection of socialism. I don't believe socialism is the answer. I just believe there needs to be a middle ground. I'm someone who, when it comes to systems, not morals, when it comes to systems, I believe a middle ground is always necessary. When it comes to politics, I believe there needs to be like a more of an injection of each side. I don't believe it's equally balanced, and that's what causes most of the issues, is a sway to the wrong direction. And the same goes for capitalism. So I wouldn't say I'm anti-capitalist, I'm very pro the reformation of capitalism to be far more socialist. But that's how I feel about capitalism as it is. It's not capable of handling justices, which is why it's going into a humanitarian crisis right now. And not just that, a global crisis. It's an environmental crisis. It needs more socialistic sway. So I'm not anti-capitalist, I'm just pro the injection of more socialism into capitalism. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? Meg said, You're a badass bitch. Well, you know me, Meg. That's not an assumption. You know I am. Bless you, you're so sweet, thank you. Ooh, this one stings. This one's sharp. That you correct your friend's grammar. Sorry. Wow, do I come across as a bitch online? Oh my goodness, that's actually really sad. Do I come across as that much of a bitch online? No, I never correct my friend's grammar. I mean, for starters, I don't think I've ever noticed if my friends have been grammatically incorrect in any way. Like, it's not something I'm looking... When I'm with my friends, I'm not... Or even when I'm digitally with my friends, the last thing I'm paying attention to is how they're writing their sentences. I know I'm always misspelling things all the time when I'm typing because I can't type very well with my thumbs. I wouldn't ever... The only time I've ever corrected anyone's grammar is if I get a really nasty troll comment. And it's something I haven't done in a few years, but it used to be my rebuttal to very nasty comments from people. So if someone was saying very malicious stuff against me online, I would just reply with corrections to all of their things. And that was like my rebuttal. But I see that as like a really nasty thing to do back to someone who's being nasty to me. So I would never do that to one of my friends. Although I'm saying this, I've just realised that several of my friends have sent me like pieces of their writing that they've asked me to proofread and edit for them. So I technically have corrected my friend's grammar, but only when they've asked me to. So I have corrected them, but only when asked. Never casually. I'm not that kind of person. You used to hate pink, but then fell in love. Because F you patriarchy and internalized misogyny. No, I've never hated pink. I'm trying to think if I had a moment in my life where I hated pink, but no. My mother has hated pink, so I didn't wear much pink growing up because my mother hated the colour pink. But I used to play with Barbies and My Little Ponies and like Polly Pockets, and all those gadgets were pink in my room. And I remember very distinctively when I was around 10 years old wearing a silk pink top everywhere. It was like my jam. And maybe when I was a teenager I didn't really like the colour pink, but I've never been anti the colour. No, because my pencil cases were pink. No, I've never disliked pink. You are a very sweet but firm person. That's sweet. And accurate. I would say yes. I mean, my friends describe me as sweet, so I'm going off what they've said to me in the past, but I think I am very firm, and I don't mess up. I mean, is it a firmness, or is it more... I don't play emotional games with people. I'm not a very emotional person. If someone is remotely emotionally charged in any way, I won't play that game. I will immediately say, okay, I'm backing off for a while, you calm down, and come back to me when you've chilled. Like, I don't deal with emotional dramas, I don't deal with like passive aggressiveness. I'm very to the point, I'm very frank with people, and I won't beat around the bush, put it that way. So is that firm, or is that just quite direct? I'm a very direct person, but I am sweet, but I'm very direct. That you don't realise how bloody brilliant you and the difference you make. That's very sweet of you to say. That's very sweet. I mean, if I were to be frank, I would say that I don't make any difference. Like, I don't make any tangible difference, particularly considering the global scale of things. But then, am I refuting your assumption, or am I proving your assumption by saying that? I don't know, it's very kind of you to say, thank you. You want to write a novel? I do. I mean, what else do I say to that? I do want to write a novel, very badly. I just haven't prioritised my time efficiently to make space for that. But I do want to write my own things for a living. You know, I've been ghostwriting for nearly 4 years now. I'd like to write my own stuff for a living, but you have to have a lot of spare time to do that, and I haven't prioritised my time efficiently to accomplish that goal, so I would love to. You enjoy a good book more than a good party. Is it that obvious? I've been to like 2 parties in the past 7 years. I've read far more books than that. You're a workaholic, quiet and timid. See, I'd agree with, I'm a workaholic. And it's not something I'm proud of. Like, it's something I'm desperately trying to move away from, which is why you've seen like vlogs with my friends or more interactions with my friends, or even a couple of vlogmases have been missed because I'm trying to step away from the fact that I'm literally working from 7 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night every day, 7 days a week. So I am trying to step away from that. I don't like it. I don't have time to read anymore. I'm losing a lot of my own just peace of mind, in all honesty. But I wouldn't call myself quiet or timid. I'm very chatty. I'm a very chatty person, and what is timidity? What is timidity? What is a constant, like, I've taken a lot of, I mean, I do take a lot of risks all the time, of which I get told off for quite frequently. And like, why did you do that? That was such a risky, you know, financial decision or whatever big life decision that I'll just like do like that. But then again, I'm not someone who will jump off a mountain on a bungee rope. So am I timid that I don't do that? But I don't think anyone would call me timid or quiet. I'm not loud, but I'm not quiet. I'm kind of in the middle. Oh, the bless, they followed up saying, I don't like this. You are who you are, and you're wonderful. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. That you are quiet and reserved all the time. Oh, so again, we got another quiet person. So I'm not quiet, but I think the term reserved is quite accurate. I am reserved. My friends know that I don't talk about, I'll talk about kind of like materialities of things, but I'm very reserved when it comes to my private life, how I'm doing, how I'm feeling. I'd rather listen to people and be there for them and listen to their life stories than speak about what I'm going through. Because if we were talking about what I was going through, then it'd be a right bloody mess and everyone would probably come out feeling really depressed. You go to bed early, are you? I wish I was someone who went to bed early and got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. But no, for the past 4 months I've been suffering from insomnia, so I'm not going to bed until at least 3:30 in the morning. Reading academic essays doesn't feel like work to you. I would say, yeah. What's weird is that reading books feels like work to me, but reading academics doesn't. I think maybe I enjoy reading non-fiction more than fiction. I find reading fiction a lot more hard work, which sounds really odd, I know. People normally find the opposite. I find reading non-fiction much easier, so I also find reading essays much easier. I assume you have a lot of stationery. I'm not sure if you can see it, but in the background of my videos, if I just like tilt it, that little pencil case and that little pink thing, set of drawers there, that's all my stationery. If that counts a lot to most people, to me I think that's quite small, because I know people who have a really big stationery like zone. They have like buckets of stationery and tins, and I don't have that. So if that counts as a lot, that pencil case and that, then I have a lot of stationery. If not, I don't. I kind of have an average. I think I have an average amount of stationery. Life is perfect. Anyways, I think you're amazing. That's sweet. I mean, I love my life, but it's not perfect. But who has the perfect life? Like, if I would love to earn more than minimum wage, I think that would like rocket my life up higher. I would love to earn like a salary. I think that would make my life perfect. But aside from that, for me, I'm very content with my life. Like, I don't want any of it to change, touch wood, you know. So yeah, I love what life I've created for myself, but I wouldn't say it's perfect. You care a lot, but you've also been betrayed a lot, so you've a hard time trusting people and opening up. Ooh. Yes. Yes. Yes, probably why I'm reserved. How funny. Oh, it's come across. Yes, no, yes, no, I was going to say, is it betrayal? I think I've just been, as I mentioned in a former video of mine a while ago, not a while ago, in the vlogmas about toxic habits, I've suffered a lot of bullying in my life, and a lot of that bullying not only has come from like classmates and colleagues and all that jazz, but it has come from family and internal bullying, and also sometimes friends who have then gone against me, and that does take a lot of healing, because for years I've always blamed myself. I thought I must have done something wrong that I wasn't aware of, and now it's come to a point where I'm like, okay, it wasn't me, but I'm never doing that again. I'm never opening myself up to anyone except in like very, very intimate circles. You don't drink coffee, only tea. Correct. I mean, it wasn't always that way. I just gave up coffee a few months ago, so I only drink tea now. I mean, I drank a coffee the other day when I was with my friend Meg, because they didn't have anything other than breakfast tea, and I don't like breakfast tea. I wanted green tea or peppermint or something more like herbalist, but no. So I had to have coffee then, and I wasn't a fan. I would rather without. Ooh, you're more of a dog and a cat person. And the next one is you prefer dogs to cats. That's funny that they came in a row to each other. I mean, obviously you can tell I'm obsessed with my dog. But I wouldn't say I prefer either. I think I'm just like an animal-aholic. I mean, my favourite animal of all time are rabbits. Like, I love rabbits, but I don't have a space for rabbits. If I could have rabbits, I would. I'd have rabbits and ducks and chickens and donkeys and dogs and cats. Like, I'd have all of them. I don't think I prefer any animal to each other. I'm just obsessed with animals in general, but that's always been my way. I've always had like animals in my life, so yeah. Your rising sign is Cancer. What does that mean? What does that mean? Oh, it's something to do with zodiacs. Okay, so I don't know anything about zodiacs. I just know that I'm not very suited to my zodiac, so I don't believe in them because I don't fit my own zodiacs. Because someone actually cares about this, I'm going to actually see if they're right or not. So let's figure it out together, shall we? I have to do, oh, I have to do a calculator. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay, I'm afraid you weren't right. Apparently I'm Gemini. I'm ascending Gemini. But again, what does that mean? You love your dog to bits. Yes. Is it obvious? I love my dog. I've loved every animal in my life to bits. And I do love my dog to bits. That you wouldn't know what to do with yourself if rich. I don't know, I'd love to be rich. I don't know, I'm like rich. For me, I'm just like, well, I'd own my own home. I'd actually own my own home. I wouldn't have to worry about debt. I could pay off all of my family's debt. I could buy my family, I could buy my mother a home, like I could buy my aunt a home, I could buy my cousin a home. I have a lot of ideas for why I'm rich. I could do a PhD without having to work full time at the same time. And then it'd just all be, and then I'd have a sanctuary for animals. And I'd have like a dog, like I'd do a big rescue dog thing so I could foster loads of dogs and cats and have different, yes, no, I know what to do when I'm rich. I know exactly what I do. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. What gave me away? You are good at drawing. I think I am good at drawing. I used to be much better. When I was a teenager, I used to draw a lot. And I mean a lot. Like I used to want to be an animator, so I would draw all the time a lot. But then I stopped for over a decade and I just started kind of dabbling in and out of drawing here and there. I probably draw like a thing a year. But it is something I'd like to get more into again in the new year and actually see if it goes somewhere, because art was a big part of my life and it feels a bit sad. I'm better at graphic design than I am artwork. Like I can show you a couple of my graphic design pieces on the screen, but I can also show you a picture of an illustration I did, the last one I did. So yeah, I like art. I think I'm good at art. I'm not excellent, but I'm good. Like I can do it good. You're pretty confident. I think I'm getting there. I think I'm getting to be confident. But I wasn't, if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have said no. But now I think I am getting there. You are a very loyal friend. I know it sounds silly, but what does that mean? Because like, you hear about like, you think about a loyal dog, don't you? And they think the loyal dog, they're loyal, they're always like waiting by the door for you. And I'm like, how does that translate to friend? I'm thinking like, what makes a loyal friend? I suppose I've never backstabbed my friends. I suppose I've never, if they need me, I'm there. So if that's what counts as a loyal friend, then yes. But it just seems like when I said it out loud, I was like, what does that mean? I don't cheat on my friends. You are very romantic. I wonder what gave that impression. That's very sweet. Total opposite. I'm completely technically, isn't the term for non-romantic people aromantic? Which is funny, because when I say I'm not romantic, I'm aromantic, people then think, oh, so you're aromantic. And I'm like, no, I'm aromantic. Ooh, an alarm. No, I'm completely opposite. I have no interest in romance whatsoever. I don't feel romantic feelings. I don't engage in any kind of romantic behaviours or interests. I have no interest in being in a relationship or being in love. It'd be sweet if I did. Because they look cute, don't they? When they go on dates and the picnics and stuff like that, I can't be asked. You are tidy and orderly. I'm orderly. I'm not sure if I'm tidy. Looking at my house, I'm like medium. I'm not like Monica Geller tidy and clean. I'm just like, things are in their places approximately. I'm more of a digital organizer. Like all of my note-taking skills, basically all of my professional life is very organized. My personal life, on the other hand, is not. You have ADHD traits. Not necessarily that you have ADHD, but work around them super well. Can you have ADHD traits and not have ADHD? I mean, surely if you have traits of ADHD, that's the symptoms of a diagnosis. So you would have, now I'm trying to think about it, I'm trying to dissect people, like, maybe sometimes you can have like so many symptoms, but not all of the symptoms. I suppose that's that's true. For diagnosed, yeah, because you have to hit a certain diagnostic criteria. So you can have certain traits, but you can't have all of them to hit diagnostic criteria. But I must confess, I'm not very familiar with the whole process of ADHD, so I don't want to say anything that would be undermining or disrespectful or or rather, I don't want to oversimplify something that people struggle with. So forgive me for any of that. But my conception of ADHD is someone who has had, maybe when I think to my childhood, children that couldn't sit still, they were easily distracted, they were fidgety, they were very, like, almost like nervous energy, but they just wanted to do everything all the time. And they couldn't concentrate, and they were a bit disorganised, and little things like that was ADHD. That's all I know of it. And from that presentation that I've just given myself there, I would say no, I don't have any of those traits. I'm very still. Weird. I suppose I only show some of me online, so I seem quite animatic, but I mean, to put it bluntly, when I was a child, it was a joke that you could put me in, as a toddler, in a room by myself and say, sit there, and I wouldn't move. Like, I wouldn't move, I wouldn't twitch. I mean, arguably it was because I was actually terrified of being punished and the punishment I would face for moving, but I was terrified of adults because, yay, childhood trauma. But I don't even think that would appease someone with ADHD. They would want to still move despite potential fear of punishment. So I would say no, I don't have any traits that I know of that are ADHD in any way. Oh, yes. You would love to live abroad if it were practically possible. Yes. I mean, I love Scotland, don't get me wrong, it's my favourite country in the whole world. But I kind of have been looking, oh dearie, I kind of have been looking at like Norway or Iceland, all that jazz. I quite like the idea. Shh, please, there's a dog outside. Yes, oh my goodness. So yeah, if it were practical, I would move to somewhere like Iceland or Greenland or Finland or somewhere like that. I love those, the Nordic countries. But yeah, it's not practical in any shape or form. You encourage others in seminars you are the audience member in to smile and nod along. Yeah, I am the first. It's my biggest pet peeve of people who just, actually, here's my rant. I was in a group meeting the other day, like a little seminar, and it was like a breakout room. And there was a breakout room of 5 of us, and I said hello, and another person also said hello, and then everyone else, even if they had their cameras on, so I could see them, said nothing. For the entire 15 minutes, I'm like, how's everyone? No one spoke. I do try. I can't stand it when people don't speak, or like, don't try. Like, I kept saying like, so how are you? Like, I can't remember, like, Sarah just looked at the camera. Like, just didn't say anything to me. And I was like, oh, what about you, Ashley? No, they didn't. I tried to literally engage with them, and they just completely ignored me. It was the most uncomfortable feeling ever. Your Gaelic is impeccable, or your Gaelic is impeccable. They're both different languages, but neither. I don't speak a word of Gaelic, and I don't speak a word of Gaelic. And if you're curious, Gaelic is Scottish, Gaelic is Irish, but I'm half Irish, I don't speak any Gaelic. And I live in Scotland, I don't speak any Gaelic. I don't know a word of Gaelic, let alone be impeccable. I mean, nothing I speak is impeccable. Not even English is impeccable. You're a terrible cook. Yes. I can't cook to save my life. I could literally sort of make me a meal and you will survive. I will die. I will literally die. You are your biggest critic. Yes. I was gonna say, I have had some very nasty people online send me very nasty criticism, but I still think I have them beat. And the final one is, your bookshelves are organised by genre. No, they're organised by feeling, which sounds weird. Yes, it does sound weird, doesn't it? But basically, it's how I feel where they go. So if I feel like it should go there, it will go there. And I always know where a book should be. So if someone were to say to me, where's your copy of Anna Karenina, I know it's on the 3rd shelf down in that bookcase in my bedroom. Like, I know it's there. But, or, yes, darling, I don't know what's wrong with her to this evening. She's just very, very barky. Why are you being so barky? So whilst there's some logic to some of them, like some of them are, you know, classics are predominantly here. There are more classics in the other room, but again, they felt right over there. But this is more for ease of like, I need that book and I'm typing here. So aside from that, no, everything else is done by feeling. They feel right together, so that's where they go. So no one else would understand where my books are except for me, which I quite like. It's like a code. But I know where they all are. And that's the end of my assumptions. I haven't received any more assumptions since between then and there. So thank you all. That was actually much nicer than I was so scared. I was so scared. People will say such like, oh, you do this and you do that. I'm like, oh no. What persona do I put on the internet that people think that of me? But no, nothing horrific there. So thank you very much for being so kind. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. And remember, books save lives, so keep reading. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you, darling. Sorry, darling.